Okay, so now that it's drilled, this is really hard because I'm using a macro lens on the webcam, so it's pretty jumpy. But now that it's drilled, I've discovered with these things, normally I drill on the center another hole roughly at the end of my fingernail. And that allows a hole for the coil leg and the bottom hole to be used as the juice outlet. So juice flows up to the hole I just drilled in the center pin, up into the post, and then it goes out either direction into your wick. And then you'll have another hole on top of that you stick your coil leg in, and then you capture it with the screw. What I decided to do, don't want to lose that. What I decided to do with these is there's not a whole lot of room there. Put another hole in. So I thought, why not just cut enough off the screw so that it's not long enough to actually go down and block that bottom hole to capture the coil leg. Instead, chop some off the screw so that the screw finishes around there, just above it, allowing the juice to come out the hole, and at the same time taking your coil leg and doing the traditional wrap it around the screw and then just tighten it, pinching it between the screw head and the top of the post. So like I said, I've already done one oh no, I guess I didn't tell you that. I wrote it in a thread on ECF. But this is actually the second one I've done today. Let's see, so if we pull this off, see if you can see it. It's going to be pretty hard because it's buried in the wick. Yeah, but I actually have the coil leg, like I just said, wrapped around the screw, and then it's pinched between this ledge and the head of the screw. So what you got to do is you got to cut, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch off the length of the screw. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll come back, and what I'll do then is I'll have the thing set up in a mod. Oh, by the way, just so as you know, even though that hole is really super small, I sit all my bottom fed devices in things like, you know, in Rios and or even my homemade mods, which has got an error on it right now, or whatever. I always sit these. I stick an O-ring in the juice well before I screw these things down. The reason being is because I'm not asking to get bottom air, the traditional, you know, you screw an Addy onto a Rio or whatever. It's a combination of juice and then air that comes up from the center. Because we've got side air on these things, you can basically seal this onto your bottom fed mod, and really there is no place for the juice to go except up through that center hole. That's the beauty of side air, which is why I've changed all my A7s over to side air, and the list goes on and on why I do it. But yeah, so even though that hole is really small, juice has no problem getting up in there. So I'm going to stop this now and cut my screw. Oh, and another thing too, when you're cutting your screws, sorry, I'll stay in camera. When you're cutting your screws, you just can't take it and cut the screw off with a pair of side cutters. Your side cutters are no doubt strong enough to cut this screw, but you'll so damage the thread that it's almost impossible to thread it back into the center post again. So what you gotta do is you gotta kind of like grab the end of it with a pair of pliers, and you gotta hacksaw it off, and then you gotta take a little bit of a file and clean it all up so you can get it threaded back in there again.